Hey everyone, it's time for another Pathfinder adventure card game scenario. This is scenario 4.2, and for this scenario, it's actually a siege deck type scenario with a defensive stance, meaning I have to get through all the monsters and villains in the siege deck and still have items left in the location deck, which are just boons, in order to win this scenario. Okay, starting off with the Blessings deck. First card in the Siege deck is a Carrion Golem. Combat 14, immune to the attack, mental, and poison traits. Okay, so I have a bunch of spells in my hand that are all the attack trait. So I do have a Staff of Focus, and that is, so the Staff of Focus is the only card I can use on this check. So it says, before you act, discard the top card of your deck. Okay, so we have to discard. We lose an Acid Jet spell. So now we're going to go ahead and use the Staff of Focus. Staff of Focus says, for your combat check, reveal this card to use your Strength skill plus 1d6. So my Strength skill is 1d8, and I get a 1d6. I'm also going to recharge a staff, which will allow me to use a d12. So a power is separate. Okay, so I get to go ahead and roll these dice. I only get to add one to this roll. Okay, I lost that d6, so rolling that over. And that fell on the floor as well. Okay, so we have a 2, a 3, and we had a 5. Okay, that was our grand total. So 8, 9, 10 plus 1 is 11, and I needed a 14. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 8, 9, 10, 11. I could get it up to, you know what, I'll go ahead and I'll recharge a card so that I can get that up to 13. I still lose by 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recharge my armor, the Crocodile Skin Madu, in order to reduce that damage. But it is undefeated, so if undefeated, I discard the top 2 cards of my deck, so I will have to do that. I lose a Blessing of Khepri, and I lose a Blessing of Ra. Since I failed this check, the first card of the location deck, which is a boon, gets banished. There's only 3 cards left in the boon location deck. This Carrion Golem, it gets shuffled back in. So, doing that, and determining what card is on the top of that. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to reset my hand. So I'm getting a hand size of 7 here. Okay, so that's all set here. Now what I'm going to do is advance the Blessings deck, and let's see what we got. Okay, we have a Bone Crusher Hyena Master. So difficulty to defeat is increased by the scenario's adventure deck number. This is scenario adventure deck number 4. So I have to roll a 13. Alright, so it's just a straight up combat check. So I have a Immolate spell in my hand. So I'm going to go ahead and do an Immolate, which is my arcane skill plus 2d4. I also have an Anubis staff, which I'm going to recharge to add an extra d12. And I think that should suffice. Alright, rolling that. Another die falls on the floor. D10 here. Okay. So I rolled a total of 6, 7, 8, 9, and 4, and a 1. So I rolled a 14. I needed a 13. Sorry for always bumping the camera around. That needs to stop. Okay, so I defeated this creature. This Bane is banished. I no longer have to, well, I don't have to discard a card from the loot deck, or the loot location deck, whatever you want to call it. Resetting my hand, rolling to see if I recharge my Immolate spell. I do not. Alright, advancing the Blessings deck. Okay, we get the Evil Eye. Stealth Knowledge Arcane. Okay, my Arcane is D10. So the difficulty to defeat is increased by twice the adventure deck number, so that's an 8. So I'm going to need a total of 14 to do this. Fortunately, I have a Blessing of Abdar in my hand. Discard this die to add 2 dice to any check to defeat a barrier. Okay, so I do have, this is a barrier, if I'm correct. Yep, it's a barrier. Okay, so I get to roll 3d10, and I get to add 2 to this roll. Okay. Alright, so I rolled an 8 and a 4 and a 1. So that's a total of 8, 9, 13, 14, 15, and I needed a 14. So very fortunate it was Arcane, which gave me the +2. So this barrier is banished. Alright, resetting my hand, drawing a card, advancing the Blessings deck, and now we get, okay, we get the villain, but since this is a siege deck, I still have to encounter all of the villains in this, or monsters, villains in this location deck. Okay, so we have here, he's immune to mental and poison traits. If the check to defeat has a cold trait, I get to add 1d8. Okay, so I have an unshakable chill spell in my hand. So after you act, I have to bury 2 cards. Okay, so right now I have an arcane skill, which is d10 and a 1d6, and I get to add a d8 since it's this tribe eater. I also have an explorer's staff in my hand. Actually, I'm going to recharge a frost staff in order to give myself a d12. So d12, and we'll keep it at that. Alright, we are adding +2 to this roll. Alright, so I rolled a 4, and a 5 is 9, a 19, and a 6. That's 25. So 25, my arcane skill gave me +2. So this villain, I don't get to automatically close the location even though it's a villain, because I have to go through the entire siege deck. I'm rolling to see if I recharge my unshakable chill spell, and I don't. And it said here that I had to, after you act, bury 2 cards. Okay, wow. So I'm going to have to go ahead and bury the Acid Splash and the Staff of Focus. Okay, so they get buried. Alright, resetting my hand here. I have a total of 7 cards. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, they're going to advance the Blessings deck. I'm going to display this card, my newfound ally friend, by my deck, which will really allow me to help defeat enemies. Okay, we get the Carrion Golem again. So let's see. I have an Explorer's Staff in my hand, which is not an attack, because he's immune to attack and mental and poison. So the Explorer's Staff is my melee skill, which is a d8 plus a d6. Plus I have, I'm going to go ahead, well I'm using a staff, and with my ally, the Undead Incorporeal Banshee. So I'm playing a card of my favorite card type on a check. After the roll, I can add or subtract 5 from the result. Wow, that is amazing. So right now, with the Explorer Staff in my melee, I'm actually adding +2 to this. So I'm just going to go ahead, I think I'm going to be fine. Because I playing. Yep, I'm doing it. Okay, so I rolled the 8 and a 3 is 8 is 11, 12, 13. I needed a 14, but I can go ahead, and since I used a staff on this check, I can go ahead and I can add 5 from the result. So we're just going to go ahead and add 5, and this creature is banished. Alright, pretty awesome. Resetting my hand, advancing the Blessings deck, we have the Stabbing Spear Staircase. Okay, so it's a Disable Perception 6 or Dexterity Acrobatics. Let's see. So it says here, what do I have? So I have the Explorer's Staff, which allows me to add 2 dice to my Disable check. My disable check is generally a D4, but since this is only a 6 check, I'm going to go ahead and just I'm going to discard the Explorer's Staff, and I'm going to go ahead and roll these dice. So I rolled a total of 1, 3, and a 1. So I rolled 3, 4, 5. I needed a 6, but according to my ally, it says, while displayed, when you play a card of your favorite card type on a check, and I use the Explorer's Staff, which is my favorite card type, I can add or subtract 5. So awesome. This ally is really paying dividends because that barrier is defeated. Okay, resetting my hand, getting low in my library here, advancing the Blessings deck, the last card. Okay, Ubashki Swarm, Combat 8. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I have a Chain Lightning spell, which I'm going to display this card next to my deck. I get to use my Arcane skill, plus I get to use 3d6. So I'm going to gather 3d6 and a d10. And the nice thing about the Chain Lightning spell, it says, while displayed, you may use the result of this check for any combat check you attempt at this location. Okay, so let's see what the result is. So it's a 9, and a 4 is 13, and a 4 is 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay, so let's see. I defeated it by at least 2 on each check. I get to use this result twice thanks to Chain Lightning. So this character or monster creature has been disrupted. Alright, so that closes the location. That was the last card in the Catacombs creature location deck, whatever you want to call that. So let's go ahead and zoom out here. Technical difficulties. Okay, so the Catacombs has been closed. The reward for this scenario is that the cards that were left in the location deck, in the Boon location deck, become ours. So we get a Ooze Falcon, an Acid Jet, and a Chakram. So unfortunately, this is a weapon 2. This is a B or a basic, and this is also a basic. So looking through my loot here, the thing is I didn't gain. Yeah, looking quick glance through the deck. So I didn't gain any new items that I could use for a trader. So I can't go to the trader right now, and looks like all these, I might keep the Acid Jet, but I doubt it. So it looks like all these are going to be discarded. Alright, well that's the end of the adventure there. That was adventure 4.2. Ahmotep is just pretty powerful. I thought maybe that siege deck would be a little more of a challenge, and it was. I mean, I had to go second time with that Carrion Golem. But all in all, another success. We'll see where Ahmotep goes next. Alright, no modifications to this deck. So thank you for watching. And I'll have another scenario up shortly. Probably tomorrow.